All right, let's talk sports. I'm gonna do this in two parts because some of the games that I want to watch, UCLA game, it comes out later. The Clemson LSU game, Notre Dame plays, North Carolina play, but I want to get out some stuff that I watched today and yesterday. So Alabama looked ridiculous today. Not just to lose early, but to lose to FSU, and it really wasn't even close. Um, FSU had that game from the beginning with the running game and just had Alabama offense in shambles with that defense. They were able to hold on to the ball. They made a mistake with the special teams, but other than that, that's that's it. FSU really controlled that game from start to finish, and most importantly, just gave nothing. Not just offensively, defensively. There was no advantage that Alabama could say, "Well, the defense looked good, the offense looked good." No, they looked bad completely. And then Ohio State. So I was confused on why Archie Manning in Texas was number one, even though Ohio State won last year. And obviously, the way Ohio State won last year, and the coach might have been fired before the playoffs, and then they went on a historic run and they won a championship. But Texas, outside of the defense, did not show up today. I don't know if it was Archie's fault. They had some misreads on protection, specifically on key downs, especially the last down when there's 4th and 5. He could have either ran for it, but when you have a guy coming unblocked, he only had a shot to throw it to a guy, and the guy was not deep enough. So I think he got 4 yards out of 4th and 5, something like that. They had a whole bunch of pre-snap penalties. They had a huge penalty on defense. It was a holding penalty in the end zone, which would have gave him a safety. But they had like two defensive penalties, but this was the biggest one, hands to the face or something like that, and that negated that play and basically replayed it down, and they ended up punting. But that would have changed the trajectory of that game because it was relatively close. Got them 2 points. They got the ball plus 2 points. Probably got the ball to 50. But Archie had a whole bunch of. It seems like the defensive plan for Ohio State was get Archie Manning moving because he cannot throw while on the move, and that's what they did. Because he was sitting in the pocket, he had some solid throws. But when even though guys were open, when he was running to the left, running to the right, running backwards, he could not accurately get the ball downfield while he was being, chased. So that was the game plan. Now being exposed on the biggest stage early in the season. Obviously, every freaking team is not Ohio State, but if we know all you gotta do is blitz this guy, get him moving left to right, you have a shot. But and then the other thing is, I understand. To me, when you're running quarterback sneaks, you want a big guy, you want a strong guy. You don't have to be 6'4", 6'5", but you want to either be tall and strong. Obviously Cam Newton. You look at Tebow. You look at guys like that, but you want to be stocky. They were running plays like fourth downs and sneaks and stuff with Archie. He's not a big guy. He's not Josh Allen. He's not that guy. So when they did on fourth down, if you're not gonna take the three, you cannot just let's bunch everybody in the middle and do a push to with the smallest guy on the freaking court. It's like, what are we doing here? It was just weird. I understand they want to get him outside and get him running and stuff like that, but to me, he's not a big guy. He was taking some hits, but I mean, you're gonna run a quarterback sneak with a guy that's is not just not that's tall, but he's not frail, but he's not strong and muscular. Like he's not built like Josh Allen. He's not built like Tebow. Tebow was really really strong. He's not built like that. He's not built like Cam Newton. He's not built like any of the quarterbacks. He's not even built like Jalen Hurts. You know, he needs to be just a passing guy. If you go run a bootleg where you just run out of bounds. But that fourth down really changed the trajectory of the game. They really should have either took the three, or if you're going to run it, you got to run it with a running back. You cannot run it with a quarterback. And it was not even, it was a 4th and 1, but it was like a 4th and 1, like a long two. Because he would have had to, or if you go jump over. He's a jump over, that'd be good. But, I mean, just trying to push your way and you mad skinny, it's like, bro, you're not going nowhere. And he went nowhere. But it looked good for Ohio State, obviously. A good showing. Good showing for Matt Patricia and those guys, but I just didn't understand why Texas was ranked number one, and most importantly, why the hell is Archie Manning clowning out here? He threw 2 picks. One wasn't really his fault. Um, but I mean, his guys, even that touchdown they had, it was like a miracle throw. That was a play they worked on. The other play, it was all incomplete passes. But he just didn't show well today. Obviously, week one, everybody said, "Oh, you're gonna go to the Super Bowl. You're gonna go to win championship." I'm not one of those guys like just because you win a game and play great in week one doesn't indicate where the future will be. And just because you play bad doesn't indicate you're gonna have a bad season. But things like this can change the trajectory of your season when they want him to be a runner at times, and he's not that big. Number one. Number two, he was very, very flustered throwing the ball on the run. And when you're in any type of college or NFL, you're not going to be able to always have a clean pocket. You're going to have to throw the ball left or right on the run, on the move. And if you cannot do that, you don't have to hit him 100% of the time, but I'm talking about throws nowhere near the guys. Nowhere near the guys. That's a recipe for disaster. And to be have that already on film and tape early in the season, it's like other teams can be like, we might use that. Lastly, Colorado and Coach Prime. People say what they want about Shedeur Sanders, but you see his value in just one game. The quarterback play went down so drastically in one offseason. Obviously, he's with the Browns now. And it's not that quarterback's not good, but he was missing high throws, low throws, missing guys wide open. And he wasn't able to process quickly enough to say, okay, let me get the ball, see these guys open, get my reads. It was, let me just run. Let me get out of here. And they had an opportunity to win this game. But I don't feel like they trusted his ability, and that was no more apparent in the last possession. They got 2 timeouts, 107, and they did a whole bunch of Hail Marys. They stopped the clock a few times. And I didn't even think they needed to use more than one timeout. I think they had 20 seconds left to call one timeout. They got a good play to get like within slam range. It was like 50, get the ball down there. But I watched Coach Prime take his headset off in like 3 seconds left, 5 seconds. He was like, man, we ain't going to overtime. And last season, there was a couple of Hail Mary plays Shedeur hit. So it's like, oh, I know we're going to, I believe, let's even go overtime. But you can kind of tell the way they were calling plays that it's like we don't really have what it takes in this game. Obviously, different game plans for every week to win this game or even push it to overtime. I don't think that quarterback is going to. They're going to have to figure out what the quarterback play is for the future. If that is what he's going to do, obviously run first, not be able to hit the wide open guys. High throws, low throws. They're going to have to either change the offense, which is more like option and stuff like that, or get another guy in there. But watching that game, it shows you the value of Shedeur Sanders and why, obviously, from team to team with Jackson State and with Colorado, he was way more valuable. Way more valuable. And not because you can make those throws, because you always have a chance. When you have a guy that can pass, you always have a chance, whether you're up a lot, whether, you're down, 3rd and 17. I mean, I watched some of them games, fourth quarter, Shedeur was making some crazy throws last season. And this season, just one game, I mean, they're like, look, we 4th and 10, we ain't going to make 3rd and 10, 3rd and 5, man, come on. Let's hit the locker room. So it's going to be interesting to see where Colorado, I think they'll be fine. Obviously, it's early in the season, but to see where Colorado goes with that quarterback play, because defensively, they played fine. Defensively, they played fine. Offensive line was held up pretty well. But, you got to be able to make plays in the passing game. And obviously, you see that with Archie Manning. You see that, obviously, with Colorado. And now you see that with Alabama. Running game is great, but you got to be able to make plays in the passing game, specifically when you're down a lot and when you have to, there's no running play for 4th and 10. There's no running play for 4th and 5. You got to put the sucker in there. So we got to get our protection right, and we got to make plays in the passing game. And can you do it? That's the key. So we'll see. I'll watch the rest of these games, and we'll be back.